The Yakima Hangtight is going to be, in my opinion, the best bike rack for your 2019 Ford Transit T350 because we have so much room for a lot of people. We want to be able to bring as many bikes as possible. Unless you have a truck and using a tailgate pad, there's not any other kind of options for getting 6 bikes to wherever you want to go. So with this, all you're going to need is a 2-inch hitch receiver. That's the only option for this specific vehicle. We actually installed this one, so check out that video if you don't have one and if you want to learn how to install it yourself. So with this, it's gonna get 6 bikes to and fro. This is gonna be one of the only options on our site that is hitch mounted and a bike rack to get those 6 bikes. When it comes to the weight capacities, we just wanna make sure that we don't exceed 37.5 pounds per bike, which checks the boxes for pretty much any bikes besides the e-bikes. If you come in and look at the bottom cradle, this is gonna allow us to get bikes with tire widths up to 5 inches on here. So for your fat tire bikes that are under 37.5 pounds, you're gonna be able to use them. There's plenty of strap here, but even for your roads bikes, kids bikes, or mountain bikes with smaller tires, they give you a little piece right here to put that excess strap, which that's nice. And another thing to think about is your wheelbases. Anything from 24 inches all the way up to 50 is gonna work. This is what a 50-inch wheelbase bike looks like up on here. And the reason why we have all of that range is because, again, of the bottom cradle. It's gonna be able to rotate like this. So you notice with a 50-inch wheelbase bike, it's kind of tilted down a little bit, but if we did have a kid's bike, it's most likely gonna be angled up like that. So there's a lot of adjustments and it's gonna fit a lot of your bikes, even the carbon fiber frame bikes. If you notice, up top, we're gonna be holding this bike by the tire down low, and up top are handlebars. So it's gonna work with pretty much all of them. The one thing I like about it is you don't have to worry about scratching or anything like that just because of the rubber strip on our little strap here, but also everything around it is gonna be coated with rubber as well. So no scratches or scrapes on your nice handlebars. I've used this rack a decent amount, and when we have 6 bikes on here, it is best to start from one side and take all the bikes off from one side to the other. But if you did have to drop someone off at a specific spot on the trail and their bike was in the middle, what you could do is you can loosen up this little knob on that bottom little cradle. And this is gonna allow us to slide this around. So you can slide this all the way to the end. Let's say we just wanted the bike that's right here to get off. We can rotate this in the middle and then slide the other one that way. It's not gonna be the easiest thing in the world just because there's gonna be a lot of things going on back here, but it is possible. And when you have these all spaced out, it's also gonna be nice to make sure there's no bike contact whenever you're going down the road. As far as how solid the bikes are when they're loaded up, I think this thing is pretty solid. It's not too rigid. I don't like it when the bikes are completely rigid on top. Let's just say like a fork mounted bike rack option for your roof or something. That's so rigid, and I feel like you're just giving your bike a lot of vibrations and stuff. With this, the bottom is just touching with the tire, so that's gonna absorb a lot of the shock. But I have driven off-road with this as well, and it's super, super solid, which I like. Whenever we do want to take this off, you can either start on the top or the bottom. I always start with the top. That's just what I've found to be the easiest. So you can go ahead, press this tab in, and fold this out. And another thing that I did too is go on the back side of the rack because there are going to be a lot of bikes sticking out on that end. But once we do those, we can do the same thing down at the bottom, right here. And then we're ready to rip. So all you gotta do is kind of grab it. It is best to kind of grab the forks or the handlebars because it is gonna kind of rotate on you. And then also to put it up, all you gotta do is just go like that, get it into place and strap it down. But let's take this thing off so we can get a little bit closer look at the rack without any bikes on it. We are gonna have to take the bikes off to tilt it away, but there is a tilt away feature, which is a box I need to check. So we just have a little pedal right there. Very easy to get to, very easy to push down on. And then this thing will fold away just like this. That's gonna be really nice for cars that have a back hatch. You will always have enough access to grab the back hatch and open it up fully. But with this, since we have 2 doors, I did notice we can't fully open this up. It's gonna be kind of just like that. But there still is enough room to where we can kind of reach in there and grab whatever we need. But I do highly recommend grabbing a swing away system. So Yakima does have one. It is gonna cut your capacity of your hitch in half, but it's still gonna be heavy duty enough to be able to fold your bikes away with all the bikes installed. That way, it's gonna swing out this way and we can have full access to the back. I highly recommend getting it because that's going to enable us to completely, fully access the back hatch if we wanna just hang out or grab some bigger items. With any hitch mounted accessory, we are gonna add a little bit of length to the back of our vehicle. This one doesn't add a whole lot compared to like a platform style, especially since we can get 6 bikes up on here. So from our bumper, which is right about here, to our pedal, which is the farthest part, it's gonna be about 14 inches. And then from that pedal part down to the ground is also gonna be 14 inches. So if you do plan on taking this thing off-road, that will be your lowest point. The tires might be a little bit higher, but that all just depends on your specific bike. Another thing to kind of think about, whenever we do have bikes loaded up, we are going to add a little bit more length. So what you want to do is just measure from your bike's handlebars, right where it meets your frame, that to the ground is how far out it's going to sit. And then from the bumper to the end of our shank, it's going to be 7 inches, and at that 7-inch point, it's going to have 12 inches of clearance from the ground to the bottom of that. I don't think that's hitting the ground just because it is so close to your vehicle. With your bikes off, you still are going to be able to see out of your back windows. It's already kind of hard with the seats, but this isn't really going to hinder your view that much. When the bikes are on here, you will be able to see them whenever you're going down the road. On your Transit, our backup camera is located on one of the doors, so it's not perfectly centered, which is actually good, especially with the fisheye lens right here. We're gonna be able to see directly behind this center mast right here, just because it is offset. And the fisheye lens is still gonna give us plenty of good views whenever we're backing up with your Transit. Another thing to think about is our shank. If you guys come down here, you'll see that we are gonna need a tool to tighten this up. So you can grab one separately, which I recommend just so you don't have to take a tool from your garage and not have it in your garage and only in your vehicle. Grab a backup. They do give you a tool with it, but having a socket and a ratchet is a lot quicker. But on the other side of it is a locking core. As you can see, this is the screen you'll be looking at when you're in the reverse mode of your Transit, and you can see plenty. We have a anti-rattle system on here. The bolt is threaded. So what that does is just make sure that there's not gonna be any shake and play on the inside of your hitch. So your bikes aren't gonna feel it and you're not gonna hear it either. If you do want to add something, you can go ahead and grab a bike cable, which right here is where it's gonna kind of go through and weave in and out of all of your bikes. Get a rather longer one just because we have 6 bikes up on here. And also, if you do have a use for a bottle opener, this is Yakima. They always give us a little spot to open up your beverage if you wanted it to. So that's something that they kind of throw in. I think that's kind of fun. And in my opinion, again, it is the best bike rack for your 2019 Ford Transit. And again, this was the Yakima Hangtight.